Hey, my name is Nicole Denise, and you have tuned into another episode of She Just Writes TV. And today's episode is going to be about removing doubt concerning your writing from your mind. Now, I came across this idea after reading a poignant blog post a couple of days ago, and it basically gave one woman's account of being a writer who doubted herself constantly, and she basically asked the question, will I ever write without doubting my work? So I thought that was very interesting, because I know as writers, and especially as women writers who tend to be more emotional, and not that men aren't emotional, but you know, women get the rep of being emotional, we always tend to doubt our abilities as a writer. So I came up with 3 strategies or 3 tips for you to remove, if not all, but remove most of the doubt from your mind concerning your writing. So tip number 1 is to compare. Now, this sounds very unconventional, but I know something that has worked for me is that I started comparing myself to a lot of other writers, and not in the sense of, oh my gosh, they're doing this great stuff, oh my gosh, I'll never live up to their ability, but I start comparing from this perspective. I said, what's the difference between me and fill in the blank? What's the difference between me and fill in the blank? So all of these great writers that I looked up to, I started comparing myself to them, and I realized that the only difference between me, as far as education, as far as ability, as far as publishing, as far as accolades, and any of those other things, was that they did it and I didn't. Instead of putting my work out there and being brave enough to publish it, they actually did. And that was the only thing that was separating me from those other people that I idolized or look up to. So I started just doing it. Like I just put myself out there by comparing myself and realizing that I had the same strengths and same abilities as they did. It really helped me remove the doubt from my mind, because the only thing separating us was my not doing it. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to check your track record. So many times as writers, we don't celebrate the accomplishments and the milestones that we make. And I don't know, it's something about women is that we just take on things and think that we're supposed to be able to do these things, or that the things that we do are not as great and they're not as great to be celebrated as they should be. I have published 3 books now, and I have to constantly remind myself, hey Nicole, you've published 3 books. Like the moment I start doubting myself of whether or not I can publish a blog article, or whether or not I can publish and write another book, I'm like, Nicole, you've already done it. I have to constantly go back in my mind and remember that, wait a minute, if I check my track record, I have done this before, so I can do it. I am capable of doing it, and that's something you guys should always do as well. What have you already accomplished that needs to be celebrated? What have you already accomplished that can be looked at as a guidepost, or as a guideline, or as inspiration to move forward in the next endeavor that you have for your writing? Think about it, ladies, because I'm sure there's something great that you've already done and already accomplished that you're overlooking. So don't do that anymore. Make sure you check your track record and celebrate those milestones so that it can inspire you to move to the next level or move to the next project. And finally, number 3, just do it. Like, I know it sounds simple, and I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but even if you doubt yourself, even if you're unsure, even if you don't know if this is going to be a winner or a flop, just write it anyways, because the words or the story or the blog post or the screenplay or anything that you're attempting to write, if you don't write it, you automatically fail. So just do it anyway. See what happens, see where it goes, and I promise you that as you continue to just go forward, even in the face of doubt, you will start to rid your mind more and more of that doubt and more of that fear, because you're like, wait a minute, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in the face of fear, and then you start building up your tolerance against doubt. So I hope that has helped you guys today. Those were 3 tips or strategies of how I get rid of the doubt that's looming in my mind concerning my writing, and I hope they help you as well. Do you have any tips of how you get rid of doubt? Go ahead and leave those tips in the comment section below. Also, is there anything that you would like for me to talk about on She Just Writes TV? Remember, I cover the topics and the issues that you care about. So until next time, you have tuned into She Just Writes TV. Be sure to visit www.shejustwrites.net for more updates, and I will see you next time. Bye.